Hey everyone, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to evercrisis. We're going to be talking about Yuffie's new banner, her Arcanum costume, her previous banner as well, if you guys should be going for that instead of this one. Red 13 getting gypped in the side. But I'm going to cover everything you guys need to know about Yuffie, if you should be pulling for it, where your account's standing, and just if it's good or bad depending on what you already got. I think it's like that's the major takeaway when it comes to pull or skip videos. If you already have a team you're working on, you should continue working on it until it's at a place that you really like and then jump into another character. I'm going to talk about that more into detail and everything else in this video. So let's start off with one major thing when it comes to this game. As you can see, it's my main account, 112,000 blue crystals are saved up right now. This is something you got to ask yourself. Is your party that you currently are working on, are they complete? Are they done? Is everything good on there? Do you have your main DPS fully maxed out? Do they have all the stats they need? Because that's your main takeaway when you're first pulling for any kind of character, or if you're going to wish list on a certain banner, is your team done? Is there anything missing? Like for me, my Sephiroth needs working on, right? He needs more edge wings. He needs a better sub weapon in the back over here to replace this magic one. He needs a little bit more ice damage to up his ice potency. So then he can be like my Cloud, where Cloud just does a ridiculous amount of damage because boosts lightning potency plus his costume, which is Arcanum, is very, very powerful while rocking 3,731 attack. So I won't be pulling on any more Cloud banners because I'm satisfied with him. He's doing lightning damage to anything that doesn't resist lightning, and I'm passing the content to the hardest difficulty, right? Whereas Sephiroth needs that little bit of work to get to that point as well. So I gotta sit here and ask myself, is it worth throwing blue crystals to this banner? Will it improve my main team? Will this carry my account to where it needs to be? So that's the first thing you guys should be thinking of. Is my team of 3 already complete before I start investing in other characters? If you're free to play. If you're a whale, if you're spending money, Yuffie is a solid character. If you're brand new to the game and you have nothing else going on, I would personally, and before we jump into what the banners are, just a little quick rundown, I would personally pull until you get Arctic Star. If you don't want to spend a lot of blue crystals, you can skip this costume, but I really like it. But if you're just budgeting and you want like a really good setup, you grab the Arctic Star, you come to Yuffie's banner, and you start pulling here until you get multiple copies. If you're going to do where you re-roll over and over for the perfect start, try to get multiple copies of her wind weapon and the 1 copy of her buffing weapon. Then you get her Arcanum costume and you are going to have a mad DPS. Grab another physical person on the team and you're flying. So, with that being said, work on your personal team. That's what you should be aiming for if you're free to play and you haven't got like a Cloud like I have and a second DPS to back it up like my Sephiroth. Because currently right now my Sephiroth, not an OB6 weapon or fully edged out back sub weapons, he still does fantastic at 3,600 attack, right? Yuffie here is actually one of the top tier DPSs in the game. She's going to be on that DPS chart compared to everyone else. And on top of it, she's also a top tier buff and debuffer, right? With her new ability for buff debuff duration. So she just became a triple threat. She has all those utilities. She's now a main DPS, the strongest wind damage dealer in the game. And on top of that, she also can put down fire defense down, thunder defense down, right? Ice defense down. She pairs up with any physical DPS in the game. She just became super fantastic, like to the next level, which is cool. It's like the new meta. We're going to see this with this character. We're going to see it with the next character. We've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out. So we're probably going to get like a collaboration, maybe. It's weird to say collaboration, but we might get like special banners for that. There's always going to be something better, and there's never really a bait banner. If Yuffie's your favorite, go for it. These are 2 great banners. All the weapons are fantastic. And now she's viable as a DPS as well now. Not even viable, top tier. So let's jump into the banner and talk about it. Costume, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Every little detail looking great for her. She has the diner tray, which is one problem. Everything about this is great except for one problem. So I'm going to move my camera real quick. It goes to 36 boost wind and 40 boost physical. Our abilities, perfect. 549 physical attack compared to one of the stronger weapons. They're 570 something, which is only 20 plus more attack. Not a big deal. 850 potency for wind, which is great but she's missing a sigil break. She doesn't have a sigil break. So again, if back here behind my camera, there's no X sigil, no circle sigil, no triangle sigil. Now, that's not a huge deal because your other two characters can run the 5 sigil breaking. But if there's ever a quest that comes up that all characters need to have 5 sigil break, it hurts. The more content we go into, the more enemies have multiple sigils, like you have to break triangle and circle, or X and triangle, and you need 2 characters running 5 sigil breaks to make that quota, right? So that's somewhere she can lack in, and that's like the only downfall I can see to her actual kit. But besides that, she's going to be a killer DPS because this is an Arcanum costume, 35% wind ability damage, and she's got boost attack 5. This alone, if you don't end up getting anything else, here's my no overboost account, and I did pull because she's fantastic. Here's what it looks like. I'm running her new diner tray with her other weapon. She's rocking 2,755 attack with this setup, and this is a free-to-play. I don't overboost any of the draw weapons. I only use event weapons, and what the game gives me, 1 copy. So you can see here, she does a ton of damage, even if you just pull her. She's fantastic, right? Now, back to the actual setup itself. If you are overboosting her, she's going to surpass a lot of your DPS. And like I said, any kind of elemental potency in the game, because we have Wind Arcanum, and you have so much stacking of wind potency up, she can do so much damage, just like my Thundercloud that I've showcased in many setups, beating Crash Sephiroth, right? Just using Thunder Element. She's the same idea, right? You don't have to have the proper element weakness. You can just use wind on everything that doesn't resist wind. So, on top of that, she's going to buff herself with her second weapon, right? Which is the Arctic Star. It's going to buff herself mid-tier physical attack up and her other physical DPS that's with her, aka Cloud, Tifa, Ice setup, right? Anyone that's physical that has a good setup with her. She has those breaches for those elementals down, so that works even better. If it's not, it's still a double buff, an AoE buff to the party. A healer is not hard to make, by the way, in this game. I'll show you my main account afterwards, but this makes her a top tier DPS. Tifa, with her Final Fantasy 9 Adamant Claws, I think it's called. Adamant. Anyways, I can't pronounce it properly. She buffs herself, right? Or we have a healer that buffs the character, where for 4 ATB, she has duration up on her new ability. Without a costume, this still increases, right? This will give us 40 to 80% duration buff up. So she not only buffs herself up, she buffs the other DPS up, and now she has a DPS setup, and now she's a main DPS without losing anything. Where like Glenn has a sort of good setup, he's got a buffing weapon, but it's single target, and his other stuff doesn't really complement him. He doesn't have an Arcanum costume to back it up, where she just literally got everything perfectly, because her diner tray, 24 physical, her Arctic Star, 24 physical. You're already getting maxed out 55 if you add Motor Drive back there. 1 copy, this is no overboost, because Motor Drive adds 32 physical attack, plus her 5 on her costume for that boost physical attack, and you're looking at 55 attack just from no overboosting, giving her so much strength. So double buffing, Arcanum damage, just like Cloud that I showcase all the time, and just go nuts on a physical team. You're gonna have a very powerful setup because of this new Yuffie Arcanum. So she was already fantastic with her Arctic Star, her costume for buff duration. She can go from being pure utility to debuffs to being buffing physical huge wind damage. There is really not a big downside to her at all besides the sigil break. This banner is fantastic for wishlisting because there is only 1 weapon on this banner. So the weapon itself, diner tray, 1% up. And then anything I wishlist will be at 1% as well, compared to like every other banner. We talk about this all the time, that double weapons equals that they get more of the percentage, and then your wishlist weapons are at 0.8. So as I pulled for this on my no overboost account, every weapon I had on wishlist, whenever I got an extra 5-star, if a 5-star popped up, was a wishlist 5-star. I'm not going to say that's going to happen all the time. RNG, it's all over the place, but this is the kind of banner you wishlist. So pulling for a powerful character, powerful setup, Arcanum, and you get to hone down on your wish list, making this a solid banner. And I think I want to go for this really badly, just because I like the setup. I like the character. I like it for the meta. Also, again, all her weapons are crazy, but she's one of the characters that can go, just like I talked about Ice Aerith. She has a second wind weapon in her kit. So on her main hand and her offhand, she can get to the max potency of wind, because there's so many wind weapons. So she has Magic Shuriken that has AoE. So you're going to have AoE, single target, fully maxed out wind potency, and it has boost attack on it, so it complements if you do use instead of the buffing weapon. But I think the buffing weapon's better than trying to increase your wind potency. I just wanted to throw that out there. She has her own back weapon, right? We have Lucia, who has a wind weapon, the red weapon. We have Zac, who has Falchion weapon, this one over here. We have Cloud's Apocalypse wind weapon. These are all great R ability weapons. We got Sephiroth, if you need more physical, he has it. You can run a full physical team if you want. Her and Sephiroth will do crazy. There is Aerith that already has Arcanium 35%, and Sephiroth has Mastery 20% wind. If you guys have those characters already worked out, you don't need to pull for her, but she does more than just that. Again, she double buffs, and she has her own power, so no matter what, she's a great character. Is it skippable? Do you need it? Of course, anything is skippable, right? You don't have to pass all the content right away. You don't have to collect everything, and you don't have to pick up the next little bit that might increase your count. Pull for your favorite character. That's my advice. So it's the costume. You're always pulling for costume. Costume makes a difference. I think it's a fantastic banner. She's got tons of potency in R abilities. They all work. It's just made perfectly. Like she was made perfectly. So that being said, let me know what you guys are doing. Are you going to pull for this? Are you going to be skipping for future rebirth banners, other collaborations, limited banners like Final Fantasy IX, which most likely will be the next part of the meta, but meta doesn't matter in this game. My no overboost account passes all the very hard dungeons, all the quests I need to give important blue crystals, weapons. My day one account focused on Cloud and a second DPS, and it's passed all the content with that one overboost Fairy Tail Aerith healer, and there's much stronger healers than that than mine, and I've been doing great. So you don't need to min-max in this game. Pull for your favorite, have fun with it. I'll give you all this advice. I'll tell you everything about numbers and how everything works. But in the end of the day, just focus on a character you enjoy and build up their overboosting. And you'll be fine in this game. So have fun with it. On that, thank you guys so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll smell you later.